heart of it, this might be the worst Tinder date ever. You got Slim, a laid-back brother, works at Costco, family-oriented, seems to have a good head on his shoulders. And then you've got Queen, an attorney, intelligent, but a little uptight. A lot uptight, but seems to be someone you'd want on your side. On the drive home after the date, Queen playfully grabs Slim's phone. When he tries to grab his phone back, he swerves a little bit. Next thing you know, he got the beast on his ass. He pulls over. The cop approaches and starts the normal routine. Queen is already hulking up in shotgun position. The cop mentions the swerving, and after running the plates and registration, nothing comes back. He returns and asks Slim to get out of the car. Yep, here comes the bullshit. The cop is out here fishing for a reason to arrest, figuring if he fucks with Slim long enough, he'll give him a reason to. He bullies Slim into agreeing to a search of his trunk. When Slim requests that he speed things up, that triggers the police, and he draws his weapon. Queen gets out of the car and questions the legality of this stop. The cop turns his weapon on her. She informs him that she's going to record this interaction on her phone, and when she goes for her phone, the cop shoots her in the leg. Slim jumps him. Both the men are fighting to get to the gun that the cop has dropped. Slim gets to it first and shoots the cop. Slim is trying to make sense of what just happened. This ain't the time for analysis, player. Slim is hesitant to leave the body on the sidewalk, but Queen tells him that that's exactly the right play. Slim, he's a little slow to understand his new reality. You're a fugitive now, son. Queen comes up with the idea of hauling ass to her uncle's place in New Orleans. On the way, they run out of gas. Queen flags down a driver who agrees to assist them. Slim gets the sweats when he notices that this good Samaritan happens to be a sheriff. The sheriff takes the two to the gas station and goes inside to pay. There, the sheriff receives a bolo that matches Queen and Slim. Outside, Slim is worried that the sheriff has put two and two together. Queen agrees. She tells Slim to take the wheel, and when the sheriff comes out, she takes him hostage. On the way back to their vehicle, the sheriff is going through 1001 reasons that they should spare his life. They lock the sheriff in the trunk of their vehicle, alive, and take his truck. All this running from the law got a brother hungry. They stop at a burger joint. Wanting to stay out of sight, they talk one of the kids into getting their food. After telling him what to order, Little Mang makes the keen observation that this ain't a fair deal. When he returns with the food, Little Mang questions if that's them in the latest cop getting popped viral video. Slim's like, "No man, that's my cousin from Cleveland that look just like me. Gotta go later, gotta go see a man about a horse, be easy, peace." In his haste to leave, Slim drives into Little Mang's dad. He needs assistance, but Queen is ready to go. Slim overrules and loads the brother into the truck. Along the way, this brother voices his support to their cause, whatever that may be. He then drops some intel that the slain cop had a previous incident of killing a black man during a stop under suspicious circumstances. They arrive at the hospital and the brother is looking out for them. He tells them to drop him off on the corner and he'll pimp limp the rest of the way. No money, more problems. They need more gasoline. Queen sends Slim into the gas station with a plan. Now with a gun, you can pretty much get anything you want. However, Slim is far from a convincing stick-up man. He reluctantly flashes his piece, mumbling and looking down at the damn ground. And unfortunately for him, this white boy behind the counter ain't fazed at all at the sight of a gun. He's 10 times the G that Slim is. Slim hands over his weapon, and of course, old boy turns the gun on Slim. But luckily, the cashier was just fucking with him. No harm, no foul. The fugitives move on. Queen arrives at the home of her Uncle Earl. The meeting is icy. They got history. Word has already made it to Earl, and he wants to know what kind of strategy his niece has come up with. Queen hasn't really thought things through and is just looking for a place to lay low. Earl warns her that his spot is definitely not the place to be, cause family is the first place that the authorities are going to look. He agrees to give Queen whatever she needs, and not just cause she's family, but because he owes her. Slim is giving more thought about future plans. He suggests escaping to Cuba. Yes, crossing the water is going to be an issue, but hey, get to Florida first and then figure things out. Earl tells them that they're going to have to switch up their appearances. He gets his hoes to give Slim a trim and Queen loses the braids. Wait now, hoes is the appropriate term, cause Earl be pimping. That night, Earl and Ho 1 get into a heated fight. Queen explains to Slim why Earl is how he is. She tells Slim that her uncle owes her because she defended him after he killed her mom. his sister. She then admits for the first time that she's scared. Slim tells her that they're heading to Florida tomorrow. A few minutes later, the police respond to Earl's ruckus. As Earl is dismissing the cop notices the getaway truck in his driveway. The cop vows to return, and Earl tells his niece that it's time to go. They ditch the truck. Earl gives Queen one of his cars and some money. He then gives Queen an address of one of his military buddies. This buddy's got connects in Florida that can get them to Cuba. Goodbyes are said, and once again, the fugitives are on their way. Queen awakes and finds that Slim is parked in a public parking lot. She's concerned about being spotted, but Slim convinces her to drop her guard and enjoy the night. They enter a juke joint. If you ain't ever been to a hole-in-the-wall juke joint in your life, you're missing out. You just might see somebody's grandma in there making rent money giving lap dances. Slim urges Queen to relax and enjoy the vibe. When he orders a drink, the bartender tells him to chill. You amongst your folk now. Relaying news to Queen that they've been ID'd, she only gets more agitated, but she soon loosens up and gets into the mood. She shares her desires with Slim, and in response, Slim does the same. The fugitives continue their journey. They experience more car trouble. At the repair shop, they're told that the car needs serious repairs, and if they want the work expedited, it's gonna cost them all of their money. Well, gotta do what you gotta do. On his way to the restroom, Slim is triggered to do another dumb move. He takes the phone into the restroom and calls his dad. He tries to explain himself, and before he blabs his getaway plan, his pops is smart enough to hang up the phone. See, the Alphabet Boys were in his living room listening to the conversation. Queen and Slim are impatient and getting on the repairman's nerves. He suggests that they stop looking over his shoulder and focus on how to stay out of prison instead. Yes, he knows who they are, and he ain't a fan either. His argument is that their actions has turned up the heat on all black folk. Their retort is, look man, you have to be there to understand. The repairman tells his son, Junior, to take the couple on a walk to get them out of his hair. Unlike his dad, Junior is a fan. Junior tells the couple that tomorrow he's attending a protest in their honor. Junior sees their crisis as a pushback against police oppression, while Queen and Slim have only been focused on trying to survive minute to minute. With the car repaired, Queen and Slim take this moment to mark their existence. The fugitives move on. Queen makes a stop at her mom's gravesite. She gives Slim more details about what went down between her uncle and her mom. It was a bad argument that turned into an accidental death. And in that vulnerable moment, the two make love in the front seat, a low degree of difficulty. See, them old cars had seats larger than a king-size bed. Junior is at the protest getting way too caught up in the energy of the mob. A riot police tells him to go home. Junior stands his ground. Turns out the police is a brother who's just trying to do his job and get home. Junior pulls out a gun and shoots him. Oh boy. Queen and Slim arrive at the home of Shepard, Uncle Earl's military buddy. Shepard tells the couple about what happened with Junior and how his father ID'd them having spent time with the boy. Shepard's wife is critical of the couple, and she ain't too keen about her husband helping them out. Tempers flare up, and Shepard calms things down. At dinner, Shepard tells the couple that there's a $250,000 bounty for their capture. Stakes is high. Shepard has set up a meeting for them with a pilot in Florida who can take them to Cuba. Just as he hands them the address, them folk kick in the door. The SWAT team searches the house, but they cannot find Queen and Slim. Shepard and even his uppity wife G up and refuse to turn rat against Queen and Slim. The following morning, Queen and Slim come out of hiding. With the cops casing the neighborhood, they find themselves trapped on the second story. They gotta make a leap. Queen goes first. Shoulder cracked. Slim goes next. Remember, always go second so you can see what not to do. The two limp into the neighbor's garage. Slim is gonna have to snap Queen's shoulder back into place. She's gonna have to swallow the pain because the cops are right outside. As he snaps her shoulder, her muffled scream is heard by one of the cops. He goes to investigate. Then Slim hot wires the car. It's kind of funny in movies how everyday folk know how to set bones and hotwire cars. While the couple are discussing how to get out of the neighborhood, the garage door opens. The young cop stands before them. He looking at them, they looking at him. The cat looks around to make sure he ain't gonna get fired and then steps aside. The fugitives are on the move. They arrive at the address. Slim tells Queen to get some rest and he'll stay up and stand guard. Stand guard by falling asleep, I suppose. They are awakened to the crack of a shotgun. Black Florida man greets them. The cat's acting familiar, so they make the assumption that this is the cat that Shepard told them about, or perhaps one of his associates. When they mention about him having a plane, dude tells him that he ain't got all that, but his man and them do. Queen and Slim follow him to his spot where he proceeds to make a call to the pilot. After some back and forth over how soon they can leave, they finally head out to the airfield. They arrive at the runway and there's the plane. Freedom is just a few steps away. They get out of the car and make their way to the airplane as Black Florida man drives off. But then they hear the sound of the beast. Them folk unrolled up on them deep. Queen and Slim realize that the gig is up. The two speak of what could have been. As they share their feelings, Officer Becky jumps the gun and shoots Queen. Queen is dead before she hits the ground. Slim kneels down and embraces Queen. He picks her up in his arms and begins to walk towards the cops. They order him to stop, either because he can't register their commands or is intentionally walking towards death. The end result is the same. The police empty their guns into Slim. He's dead. News spreads around the country. To Uncle Earl and the Hoes, to Junior's father, the repairman, to the Shepherds, to Slim's parents, and yes, to that rat-ass $250,000 reward-earning Black Florida man that handed them over. Queen and Slim are immortalized by mural, at least until that mural gets painted over when the next brother or sister gets shot down.